grand merci pour avoir attiré notre attention sur ce problème fondamental et crucial qui est les banques de données. Et vous avez besoin de... Ouais. Donc je passe la parole à Madame Susana Pinto de l'université de Aveiro, qui va donc nous parler sur un sujet intitulé « Les langues dans la recherche scientifique, une étude auprès des universités publiques au Portugal ».
Boa tarde. Je m'appelle Susana Pinto, je viens de l'Université d'Aveiro, à Portugal. Since we are in a colloquium, been discussing the benefits and importance of plurilingualism, namely in research and in education, I decided to have my presentation in English and in Portuguese and in French. So it will be a bilingual, trilingual, maybe quadrilingual presentation. I hope you don't mind and you enjoy it. Le plan de la présentation, je parlerai premièrement sur la difficile question des langues dans la science. Après, I will focus on the Portuguese context and I'll discuss with you some final remarks. So we all have been discussing in these 2 days, in a very productive way, I believe, the question of the production and circulation of scientific knowledge, which are grounded on a monolingualism, in which English has acquired the status of lingua franca and the lingua academica, being considered a precondition for universalizing knowledge. This hegemony of English has been discussed by many authors who have been emphasizing that this growing monolingualism leads to the impoverishment of scientific creativity, innovation, and reflexivity. It leads to the existence of an epistemological monoculture that privileges certain forms of knowledge and single views while ignoring others, increasingly leading to an epistemicide in the sense that various epistemological traditions encoded into different languages are threatened. They have also been underlining that this reinforces the current asymmetries and inequalities in the production, circulation, and transmission of scientific knowledge, and of course that it has influence on the economic development of countries and of language communities. So, it seems to be increasingly important to underline the plurilinguisme. And discussions in the scientific community have been underlining that languages are vehicles of thought. They are involved in structuring knowledge, which underlines the linguistic and communicative mediation of construction and transmission of knowledge, and which emphasizes the functions of mediation, remediation, and the indexicality of discourse. These authors and these researchers have also been emphasizing that scientific knowledge is mediated, through languages. They are praxeological because they depend on the social practices in which it is produced, it is situated, and it is distributed. And then that plurilingual science is the result and the production, as we all know, of knowledge through the interpretation of languages and contexts and cultures. So, there is a growing awareness about this mediating role of languages in the knowledge construction, leading to an increasing understanding concerning le plus épistémique, heuristique, fonctionnel et la valorisation personnelle et professionnelle de la pluralité. Qu'est-ce qui se passe au Portugal? Bem, em Portugal não temos políticas linguísticas explícitas nas nossas universidades. On n'a pas. Et ce qu'on voit, c'est que l'anglais, c'est considéré de língua académica for a necessity of internationalization. For our Ministry of Education, well, almost nothing is written about languages and the role they may play in universities in Portugal, okay? But we have this. Naturally, currently, the English language prevails in higher education and in scientific research. And that is why it is fundamental, on one hand, that Portuguese higher education students are proficient in English. And on the other hand, that training offered English may be multiplied, especially in master and doctoral degrees. This will increase internationalization, okay? At the same time, we have a few lines about Portuguese as a strategy for internationalization. So we can see that it is seen as a language which is important to be a language of science, which is spoken by millions of people, and it should be un instrument de connaissance. Mais il y a une préoccupation croissante avec le déclassement du portugais en tant que langue de la science. Il y avait des meetings of Council of Chancellors, the second conference of the future of Portuguese language, the Lisbon Action Plan, and these emphasize the importance of maintaining Portuguese as a language of science. Following these concerns, the Foundation for Science and Technology, which is the foundation that funds science in Portugal, released the Charter of Principles saying that the reinforcement of Portuguese language research communities and the promotion of cultural industries considering the Portuguese language a vehicle of science and knowledge. Anyway, what we all think in Portugal is that this is mainly rhetorical. And why? Well, we are now being assessed, our research units are being assessed, and we must write our reports in English. We must select 5 publications written in English for the International Committee to assess us. And so we believe that all of this is mainly rhetorical and it's very hard for us, believe. Pendant the last 3-4 years, I've been studying this in Portugal, and I wanted to know what universities in Portugal thought about using different languages in science, and if they had language policies undergoing. So I invited the 14 Portuguese public universities, but only 6 of them accepted to be part of the study, which reveals the importance it is given. Okay, so the invitation was sent to all of them. So we had 6 universities, questionnaires, and individual interviews to the vice rectors for research, who are the institutional responsible people for research. Okay. So, which were the convergences concerning the reported practices? Well, on voit qu'une grande partie des publications scientifiques dans les universités est rédigée en anglais. Ouais. Il y a des investissements importants des centres de recherche dans la traduction d'articles en anglais. It's very expensive for us. Quelques unités de recherche décernent des prix aux chercheurs qui publient en anglais en revue indexée. Quand je viens ici et j'ai demandé pour être financé, ma unité de recherche m'a demandé: vas-tu écrire un article? Oui. Ouais. Et par publier où? Quelle est la journal? Une représentation que j'ai vue que c'est très marqué, c'est la question des langues pour l'internationalisation de la recherche. L'anglais, la langue de la communication scientifique, mais quand même, le vice-recteur emphatise l'importance des autres langues. Alors, il pense that Portuguese, Spanish, French, and Chinese are important and that should be put in place. They also emphasize the need to fight for the presence of Portuguese as a language of science, alluding to the economic power of language and how it, I don't know the time, and how it may enhance Portuguese economy. Cinq? They also underline the advantages of plurilingual group de recherche. Et si les langues sont importantes pour l'internationalisation de la recherche, elles sont aussi importantes pour le succès scientifique et professionnel des chercheurs. Alors, l'anglais is perceived as essential for the scientific reconnaissance of researchers, because we are evaluated by our publications mainly, and if they are indexed. Okay? Les évaluations des unités de recherche, comme j'avais dit, mettent en valeur les publications dans des revues avec des facteurs d'impact. Alors, il y a une double nécessité d'obtenir la reconnaissance individuelle et institutionnelle. Il y a alors des convergences dans les représentations et des tendances similaires. Il y a une tension entre l'anglais en tant qu'imposition et d'autres langues qui peuvent être stratégiques pour les chercheurs et pour les institutions. Concernant la question de politique linguistique, well, I saw that there are some, well, only 2 universities from the 6 have structures where language policies are discussed, some institutional documents saying what languages students should learn and saying that English is the mandatory for publication, some initiatives that encourage the utilization of several languages in research, but this only happens in 2 of the 6 universities I studied. Anyway, in spite of the fact that there aren't these kind of initiatives for language policies, they believe it is important, and they believe that these language policies and institutions should have équilibre entre l'anglais et le portugais. These people also identified the conditions they think it's necessary to have to développer the plurilinguisme dans les institutions. So they emphasize the need for institutional structures, the collaborative work, des initiatives qui visent à sensibiliser la communauté universitaire sur le rôle de langue en tant que composante transversale des activités universitaires. Et ils pensent que c'est important d'incorporer des politiques linguistiques dans les plans stratégiques des institutions et avoir du soutien des agences du gouvernement et des agences de financement. Alors, j'ai 3 minutes.
Exactement.
Merci. Alors, c'était ici que je voulais arriver. Je vais lire pour ces plus rapide. Alors, these identified practices and representations allow us to delineate some reflection action lines to Portuguese higher education institutions, considering their contexts and representations I saw and the practices I saw. I believe that it is possible to have language policies that may reconcile a more economic, competitive discourse with a more humanist and plural discourse, recognizing that they cannot be incompatible, okay? So the bottom line is the adoption of a strategic, practical, and complementary multilingualism, closely linked to the institutional development strategy. So these axes are mainly for reflection. They are not final, they do not intend to be final. So our results show that it is necessary to have shared spaces supported by management structures of higher education institutions where discussion and reflection on plurilingualism can be promoted. These spaces should aggregate representatives of the various institutional actors, management bodies, researchers, research center units, teachers, students, staff, as a way to build a shared vision of a language policy, because we know that top-down policies hardly work. Merci. Alors, c'est important to develop, it is important to develop this institutional locus that is constructively, that is shared and will contribute to raise awareness. It is also important to make languages everyone's business. Languages cannot be business only of people who work on languages and who are concerned about this. So it is imperative that all academic actors understand the meaning, the interest and value of languages in the construction, circulation and transmission of knowledge. Moreover, as seen in our results, the internationalization of research and education is of enormous relevance. Of course it is, it must be. But I think that plurilingualism is not seen as a less obvious strategy of internationalization, and we must prove that it is a better strategy for internationalization. And I think that this is related to the still very narrow perception of internationalization that our universities have. And we should highlight the benefits of plurilingualism. So, for last, I believe that education can be a driving force for plurilingualism in research. We know that all the missions in university, research, education, and interaction with society are all interconnected. And this question of plurilingualism in education is more discussed. And I think that it can be a driver for bringing this discussion more openly, more broader and shared for research. De conclusão. Prever estas linhas de ação para as universidades portuguesas implica, antes de mais, trabalhar as representações dos atores, as representações dos investigadores, dos reitores, dos vice-reitores, das agências que financiam a investigação. Porque se não trabalharmos essas representações, as coisas não mudam e as representações podem ser des grands obstacles à l'implémentation des politiques linguistiques plurilingues. Merci. Obrigada.